shelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the bag. Ayy, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast. Ayy, ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Ayy.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I got a very special live guest here. I got my man, Mikulik, back in the house to break some stuff down. So Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Oh, thanks a lot. Actually, I was looking at it. It was exactly a year ago I was out here.
Was it really?
It was. In here, well, in your other studio, but it was pretty cool to do it.
Yeah, man. Dude, it's been a wild year, to say the least, right? Like, just looking back on everything, growing out our business and kind of just dealing with everything that's been happening out there in the overall freight market. I think it's obviously continued to be depressed a lot longer than I think any analyst and expert ever thought it would. And I think it's at a unique time though. And again, like I always try and just play the hand I'm dealt. Like, I cannot control anything but my daily output, no matter what. Like, I can't control if a customer wants to onboard me. I can't control what the economy is doing. I can't control if consumer credit card debt is at an all-time high. What can you do? And I think like that's kind of just where my mentality is.
But you grew 70%.
Yeah, I know.
That's pretty good.
It is, and especially because it's like we look back and because we're like, I don't know you can attest to this because everything's through SPI. We had 0 customers when we started. I came to you with a dream and a hope. And I said, I'm getting back in. Can I be an agent with you guys? I have no customers.
I was dumbfounded when you said that.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, oh man, but I sponsor you.
Yeah.
Anyways, it worked out.
Yeah.
Dude, you brought Angela on. It was a good fit.
It's been crazy to see like just the progression of where everything is. But again, it's like it's taken a lot longer. And we had anticipated that it was going to change a little bit sooner, but like now, I see the value in going through these times more than maybe most do, because it makes me appreciate my customers so much more than if you say onboarded a bunch of customers in an easy market where you didn't really have to work for them that much. I think that could breed the tendency that like relationships are disposable at that point, because when it's easy to get business, you don't necessarily appreciate the journey of actually fighting to onboard them.
No, what also shows too, the customers that you are onboarding or you're building the relationship with, you're building it for the long term. If things happen way too easy, what customers can pack up and leave as well too, because they don't value the relationship, but you're bringing on the right customers.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Because it's like, if we're out here looking at our growth this last year, of that 70% year over year that we had, 90 to 95% of that was from existing customers. And that was, again, those were years in the making. It's showing up, it's answering those calls, emails, last minute, saying yes to like literally anything to actually prove ourselves. Because it's like, I think one thing right now, and I want to start about, talking about cold calling, because it's one of those situations though, Mike, where you can cold call, you can get in the door with people, even in this market, but it could be a year before you see your first actual repeatable opportunity.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people, when they start cold calling and they don't get results, they give up after the third, fourth time. And I think there was a study, we talked about this last time. It's it's between 10 to 12 touch points talking to a potential customer before something will actually click and actually happen. But a lot of times people give up way too soon.
Yeah.
We're in it for the long haul.
Dude, and that's it, right? But I think also people overlook the fact that like, just because you call a business 10 times doesn't make that 10 touch points. Like, you actually have to speak to the decision maker, right? Because I got a lot of great relationships with some gatekeepers to a lot of my prospects right now, but I have yet to speak to the decision maker. But again, back to like, we're committed to this long term. Like, this isn't just like a hobby to me. I'm not trying to do this for a year and then cash out or do anything like that. Like, I'm trying to build a sustainable, scalable company that we can employ a ton of people and change people's lives with it. And it's like, I look at it where I want to get in front of people, but like we've identified the shippers that we're going after. We've done that work. Like we've spent so much time over these last few years really developing, tearing up our processes, rewriting our processes, finding who's the ideal customer that we even want to go after, because I'm not out here chasing any business. I want to chase the right business that we can scale with, because it's like, I've been doing this. I don't want to sit here and put myself on a perch, but like I've been doing this for a very long time. There's a difference between good customers and bad customers.
You still don't have any gray hairs after all that.
Yeah, dude, I know. I got, but again, it's like, what are some of those successes that you've seen with people who go in there, Mike, and like they know who they want to go after and what they want to go after?
I think let's just go back to the cold calling and talk about the gatekeeper, because I think that's a great way to start. Gatekeepers are basically, they're in that position to keep guys like you and I out of here. So obviously developing a relationship is really important. And actually, that's what I was chatting with Drew Bertner yesterday, and he was talking about, he makes it a point to get to know the gatekeeper. Not try to go in there and say, hey, listen, put me through to the decision maker, but try to get a relationship going with them. Find out what they're interested in. Acknowledge that they have a tough job. Make them laugh. Like you're there to make sure I don't get through.
Yeah.
And just start building off that. But then it kind of got into another point within business of people who will answer the phone, or people that make a lot of phone calls and have a lot of non-success in reaching somebody or even getting a commitment out of, is the accounts receivable team. They're making phone calls to potential or to all their customers trying to collect money. Most of the times they're getting sidetracked. It'll be there in another 10 days, and really that means another 30 days. So they make a lot of outbound phone calls. That's a tough job, but they don't get many calls coming into their office. So if you talk to the gatekeeper and say, listen, can you move through to the accounts receivable team? She's going to put you through right away without asking who it is.
Yeah.
Build a relationship with the accounts receivable team. Start talking to them about what's going on there in their business. Or I accidentally got put through to you by accident. I'm actually looking for someone who's in transportation. We got to play the game a little bit when it comes to this business.
No, I agree. You have to look at it where it's like, at the end of the day, I mean, are you going to offend some people? Yeah, probably. But like, who cares? Like, honestly, I think like this just could just come with the fact that I'm just older now, and like other people's opinions weigh less and less on the decisions that I make in life. And I kind of look at it as it's like, man, I got a family to feed just like they have a family to feed. And I also play this in the back of my mind. Most companies now, they're in that position because one day there was a founder who never took no for an answer, and they fought through and they built that business into what it is today. So it's like, I just look at it as that's my mentality when I'm going out there and I'm trying to onboard somebody. Again, I'm not pushy. I'm not doing anything. I try and sell to people the way that I like to be sold to.
Right.
I'm prepared. I'm respectful of the person that I'm talking to. If they say no, I'm not going to push it in that moment. I'm going to thank them for their time. I'm going to have a good day. And I look at it even from like a training perspective and a long-term perspective. It's so much easier to develop that process early on than it is to try and convince somebody who already told you no to give me their business. I don't know about you, but I've never had that work out for me in my favor.
You got to set yourself apart when you're making cold calls and trying to reach out to people. There's just no way around. There's no other way to do it. I mean, you got to be different. I mean, you go with something scripted, people can read into that too.
Yeah.
James and I were chatting last week, and he says, he gets a ton of emails,
I could only
tons
imagine.
of cold calls as well too. And he got a phone call a couple weeks ago, and that person said, hey, I just want to let you know, because James has been with SPI for
18, 20 years.
I think he came there right out of school.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was the first thing they acknowledged. He goes, I think it was so cool how long you've been with this company. What does this company have that made you stay? And it was like, to him, he wanted to chat about it.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? You gotta take an interest in people and their journey, and appeal to their. I mean, the truth is, everybody wants to talk about themselves. Everybody wants to be acknowledged for successes in life. That's a way to get in the door too.
Yeah. I think a lot of people just, they want the end result. They don't want the work that's required. They don't want to do the research on it. And I just look at it like, with every piece of technology, free technology that is at everybody's disposal, Mike, it takes literally 5 seconds to find out everything you need to know about your prospects at any given moment. And then if you do get the gatekeeper's name, you should be on LinkedIn instantly, researching them, preparing yourself a little bit more for that next outreach in the event that they do call. Because again, I guarantee, I don't know if James, signed up with whoever was that prepared for that call, but he'll remember that guy.
Well, he remembered it. He told me about it.
Yeah.
So it was,
but dude,
it made an impression.
That's the thing. And it's like, standing out is the name of the game, right? Like how do you stand out? And that's one of those things that we like to apply in our outreach. No matter what, we try and be as respectful as possible. Like even if they are visibly upset that we called them in the moment, we always just say, hey, thank you so much. Have a great day. We end our calls like that. We're always trying to have at least a positive spin on it. Because again, like I could only imagine the amount of solicitations that some of these people get on a given day.
And you got to acknowledge that too to them. I know you get a lot of phone calls. You talk to a lot of people.
And that's it, right? Because it's almost like I can only imagine. And you got to try and put themselves in that position. But again, time is one of those things where it's like, if you're going to take and ask for somebody's time, you have to be prepared. You have to have something of substance to be able to deliver to them. Otherwise, you're just going to be filed into the we'll never talk to you category. And again, I'm just looking at it as I just want to have one positive conversation with them, get one positive piece of information, whether it's just them verifying like, yes, we do flatbeds. Okay, perfect. I know you're not adding anybody up right now. I mean, this was a conversation I just had with a prospect yesterday. They verified everything. They are literally the epitome of our ICP, but they said, Chris, we're good right now. We're probably not adding anybody for the foreseeable future. And I said, can I respectfully follow up with you in February? They said, probably March would be a better idea. I said, perfect. I will call you back in March. I have everything detailed in my CRM. I'm going to call them back in March. And again, I have the details of the conversation all saved in there. So when I call them back, I have everything laid out. Hey, we talked back in December. This is what you said. You probably don't remember this conversation, but let's talk a little bit further. How's your year going? How is planning going? How is your product? Blah, blah, blah. There's a bunch of different angles that you can take with that.
It's true. I think in our business too, we make cold calls out to people and try to set ourselves as different. What's our number one? The rejection line we get, I'm happy who I'm using.
Yeah.
And you know what? And we still try to sell past that, but we should stop. Respect that the guy is loyal to who he's happy with who he's using. He's shows a sense of loyalty. Acknowledge that. Make him feel good that, hey, this guy is a good partner. And then tell him, you know what? That just makes me appreciate you and what your business that much more. Probably wants me to work with you even more.
Yeah.
But listen, hey, before I go, because I respect that, what do they do that's so great that makes you loyal to them?
Mm-hmm.
Put him on the spot to make him tell you what makes him so great.
Yeah.
And then really listen and go, you know what? I'm not looking to try to make any big changes in there. But if there are smaller areas that you are concerned about, I go, relationships take time. If I was to come in there and man, your largest lane, you'd be crazy to give it to me.
Yeah.
But I got to start off something small and prove myself to you. But just break it down like that. If someone told you, hey, I respect your loyalty, that makes us feel good too, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I know. And that's it, right? Because again, it's like they're looking at how does it affect you as a sales rep? And that's all that they're concerned about. And it's very evident when you are talking to somebody what your angle is. And, and again, I get the frustrations. I get the fact that like, you have to develop business. That's your job. But I also look at it as this is a literal marathon. Yep. You have to go out there. This is a time. And anybody who tells you that developing business is easy is literally lying to your face. And they're probably trying to sell you on something at that time. Because at least for me, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Developing any business, let alone multiple with zero customers, zero revenue, all you have is an idea and a work ethic. It takes a very long time to get that up. But when you do get in the door, and you are at least starting to get noticed. And when I say in the door, I'm not saying moving freight for them, but like, hey, we'll answer your call the next time you follow up. It's a process that you have to adhere to because again, they're going to forget about you. You have to make them remember you. And I think like there's two camps. You're either going to be remembered for the right reason or the wrong reason. And I would rather have it take me a little bit longer, but have a positive interaction with them than try and push my way through the door.
Totally. And like you said, do the research ahead of time. Find out a little bit about the person, about the company.
Yeah.
Acknowledge something that's unique. I agree. That's just one aspect of those cold calling.
No, that's it, man. And because it's like, that's another thing. I mean, obviously anybody who's been on social media at all has seen the just absolute rise of agency offerings that are going on out there.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think deep down there is an opportunity for people to truly go out and try and explore their things. But like, I think some people are doing it for the wrong reasons in the sense of like they can remove paying employer tax on employees by having them switch to a 1099 model. I think that's a big rise of it. But I also look at it it's a thing that could be a very lucrative deal. And I think that there are people who are out there trying to do it for the right reasons. There's some really good companies that are out there that offer it. But I also look at it that, I just want people to know like the realities of what you get yourself into when you go out there out on your own, because, I try and caution anybody who comes to me whoever asks about what it's like to be an agent, I'll tell them the truth. My first question to everybody is, did you actually develop the book of business that you're planning to bring with you? Or was it acquired through attrition in your company? Again, that's a great question. That's not a wrong thing, but like if you've never developed something from scratch, what is your strategy if? And when I say if, what is your strategy if they don't come over with you? Or if you lose that business for whatever reason, what is your strategy? And I think, again, those commission splits and everything else, it sounds phenomenal on paper if it continues to go perfect. It is. But again, what's that strategy? And then furthermore, does the agency that you are going to bring your book of business to, are they a one-trick pony? There's a lot of financial ramifications that could come along. What happens if your customer doesn't pay? What's that recourse look like? Are they going to take that money from you? Are they going to withhold commissions? Are they not going to pay you commissions? There's a lot of things that need to be uncovered. And then furthermore, are they just a domestic offering, right? Or is it just full truckload LTL in the United States? Is there an international footprint? Do they do any, what does that look like?
I think you have to look at all aspects of it. There's so many components that go into looking for the right freight agency. And the thing is not everyone's going to be the right fit for you. I'm not going to be the right fit for every single agent up there. And I'll even tell them that up front. And I go, it's got to be the right fit on both sides. Because if it's not the right fit, I go, we're all going to be disappointed in each other at the end. So we interview slow when it comes to freight agents, but we're thorough. We expect them to ask a lot of questions. We actually tell them you need to look at other agencies as well too. And out of those ones, choose the one that's the right fit. But you say a lot of interesting points though. I mean, where do we start here? I mean, the aspect about who has the financial responsibility, that's a key question to ask. What's the TMS system look like? Like how robust is it? What do your onboarding tools look like? Back office support. I mean, I'm sure you'll say this with dealing with client care, but I think that we have a back office support team that is probably some of the best in the business.
That's an understatement. I talk about this often where it's like, we're out here, we move high value freight. All right. Like our freight that comes through $200,000 to $400,000 shipments at times, they have us have the ability to purchase additional insurance within minutes, right? Like this isn't a drawn out process. There is nothing. Here's the parameters of it. They get us a quote back within minutes. We get it locked in, and it's the policy is issued before the driver even arrives, right? And it's again, they work through a lot of those situations, the responsiveness when we're going to them for, hey, are these customers available to be prospecting? Is anybody working with them? Because again, I don't want to step on any other agent's toes if they have those relationships. That just looks bad for all parties involved. And again, they're on top of their stuff with it. And to me, it's also my favorite email comes every Thursday with our payment that's coming our way, right? And it's just that goes without failure. But again,
that's another question. Weekly payments, right? I mean, but all that it ties in. But I love the part about I'm sorry, I prodded you on that question about client care, but I have not heard anything negative about client care throughout our whole agent network. And people, in a lot of cases, our agents have a better relationship with our client care team than they do with myself or James or Olivia, because they're dealing with them on a constant basis. They're that link to their business and getting things to happen quickly. I mean, after hours is another question to ask, like, what is your after hours support? Because I'll tell you, our after hours team gets a lot of phone calls, past 8 o'clock at night or well into the weekend. And you know what? That's where you actually make a lot of your money loads, is if something happens after hours. So you need a back office support team that's going to onboard that carrier for you or help you get credits, whatever the thing is that you need done. We need somebody to answer that phone.
No, that's it, right? Like I had Mark with, I had just a couple of questions about some compliance things that were going in. Because again, we don't just assign any carrier to a load, right? Like if we're out there and we're looking for it, especially when it comes down to, this one example, it was tricky because it was loading in the mountains. For example, there's a couple of routes that the driver could take up there. So again, I had questions. I'm not an expert in everything. So I was texting back with Mark. I mean, it was like 9 o'clock his time. He's responding almost instantly. Hey, you can do this. You can't do that. You can do this. You can't do that. And again, it's all about because again, I want to protect all parties involved here. I'm not looking to set anybody up for failure, but again, he was all over that. And it's like, that's just one of, I could literally put a 20-hour podcast together on all of this stuff and just like the infrastructure that's in place for it. And I think again, that's the importance of, if you're going to go out there and look into becoming an agent, the importance of talking to multiple different companies, see who's out there, because I can attest to you guys at SPI, the infrastructure that's involved there. Again, I can pack a $200+ million punch in a freight market with just me and my business partner, with just me and Angelo. We can go out there and we can move a ton of volume. We have every capability at our disposal with literally one email to client care. Hey, we need this, boom, done, set up, active, ready to roll, because you guys have already invested the time in the infrastructure of it, through the technology, through everything, the insurance, receivables insurance, everything. And that's another thing too, right? Like, you guys are out there ensuring that all parties are protected, because back to all business isn't good business. A lot of people have a hard time comprehending this. There are customers who will not pay you. They will set you up. You will rack up a $50,000 bill with them and they will not pay you.
It's true. There's a lot of things to actually look at choosing an agency. And I mean, client care is one aspect of it. Your TMS is another. I mean, there's so many of the little things that we may not think of, but they're actually important. They're actually really important. One is that agency group that you're going through to, do they have their own employed sales force team and they have their own book of business in-house within the company, or is it strictly agent based? And the point with that, I mean, I've seen them and they're successful as well too, but 9 times out of 10, the priority when it comes to any kind of leads or support is going to go to the in-house operations team and to the in-house salespeople. So we made it a decision as a company that, we will never compete against our agents. In fact, if anything, we utilize our internal resources, like myself, Joe, James, Anita, Eze, to support the agents to help them build their book of business. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is, the agent's customers are not our customer. Our customer really is the freight agent. Yeah. We have to view that. It was a mind shift for us, because we're all transportation professionals, but really our customers are the agents. So I have to ensure that our agents are getting everything that they need to go out to be successful. And there's that stickiness factor where, they're so happy with the company that they work for that they're not looking to take a leave and move somewhere else.
So, I mean, with that being said, though, I mean, I can attest to this. You guys are constantly out on the road, not only meeting with your guys as agents in person, but like, you guys are out there actively looking, going to shows, going to conferences. How can we improve the overall experience? Because, kind of to tie in with cold calling and everything else, like, I always talk about the importance of the niche. And again, that singular sales focus. But again, when I'm in the door with somebody, I want to be able to service them fully. I don't want anybody else's hands on my customer's freight. If I can do that with one of those things, with like being able to do international air shipments and stuff like that, how did that kind of come about? Where you guys are like, hey, we need to start exploring this. And that's one thing that I love about you guys is you guys are constantly trying to see, what else can we do? How can we make our agents' lives easier?
Totally. I mean, I'll start on the first part. When it comes to a lot of the conferences within the US and Canada, you're going there to find out what technology is out there that, we don't want to stay behind the curve. We want to stay ahead of the curve. So if there's new technology that's going to benefit our agents and within the network, we want to look at it. We want to explore it. I'm not saying that we're going to sign up with all of them, but we want to know what's going on. Because we want, one thing as a company, we have not lost a potential agent due to technology. Yeah. And it's actually pretty cool to say that. Asked that 7 years ago, I think that we were behind the times when it came to our technology. But now I think we're on the upper echelon of it now. And like I said, I don't lose agent potentials based on that. But then the other thing too, which you talk about, is other opportunities, like giving other opportunities for our agents to deep sell their existing business. And that's kind of how we came up with, we got to start getting ourselves involved in international air and ocean freight. Because at the end of the day, our customers are all moving domestic cargo. We have great relationships with them. You have credit set up with them. You know all the key players. And most of, if not all of them, have some form of international air freight or ocean freight that's taken place, or even drayage into the USA and Canada that has really gone untouched. And when you start talking about deep selling, it's sure a lot easier to deep sell an existing customer than it is to go and cold call, as we talked about the challenges before on that. And that was the one thing, we looked at. We're like, man, there's a major opportunity there. So we started exploring with international conferences and joining international freight forwarder networks. So now we have offices or agent offices in China and anywhere in Southeast Asia, in Europe, in Africa, and in South America. Like, if there's import ocean freight coming from any country now, we have the resources now to be able to handle air and ocean. And the same thing on the export side. Out of the USA and Canada, we can handle international air and ocean on the export side, or even country to country. So, Europe to the Middle East, or Europe to China. We now have a network that we actually belong to. We actually belong to two, and we're actively now moving air and ocean freight. And You know what? It's interesting, especially when you talk in the agent market, you talk to some agents that do strictly domestic transportation. For them to, yes, it sounds great to be able to say we can do air and ocean, but there's also that fear factor of doing something completely brand new that you've never done. It sounds great. I know my customer has these opportunities, but I don't know how to do it. And we factored that in too. And we actually, within our client care team, we have an international freight department now. We have a guy who was a freight forwarder. He understands air and ocean. He's built off all those relationships with the overseas partners that we deal with. So now he's a resource to our agents. Our agents can go to him with help on learning how to do it, to help them get quotes. Even if they want him to actually dispatch the cargo as well too, we can offer that service to them. Or we can train them so that our agent can do it. But there's that fine. We actually even built an international training module which is in-house for our agents to actually look at, to understand all that goes into international air and ocean. So we're trying to give our network the ability to have other ways to put more hands around their business, and air and ocean is that place right now.
I know. I think that, especially with all of the volatility with tariffs, that's outside of AI, that's topic number 2. That's the hottest topic that's out there in our industry right now. But again, in the event your customer changes their manufacturing or distribution footprint internationally at all, whether they're sourcing from the Philippines, China, it doesn't matter. The more that this drags out, that can cause more and more potential volatility. And again, anytime a customer comes to me with any request, I want to be able to fulfill it. Even if I can't do it for whatever reason it is, if they're like, we need hazmat, bulk, tanker, whatever, I want to know where to turn to be able to service them in that moment. Because again, I want to service them. I don't want to see the business leave in any capacity. And this is like a natural progression where it's like, air and ocean, that is such a large footprint out there. And again, imagine even if your customer doesn't import anything, what if their supplier's having an issue with a container at a port in China, they don't know how to get it out or whatever that looks like. And then as an agent, you have one email away or one phone call away. Hey, Mike, this is what's going on. Boom, talk to this person. And then it's solved, right? To me, it's just about providing that solution to your customer in any given opportunity.
And I think right now, for a lot of our agents that have a strong relationship with their customers, that just ask, hey, I'm curious about your international air and ocean. There's definitely opportunities there. But I mean, it was an unfortunate talk. It took longer than what we thought, because I've been doing this for 3 years now. And part of it was just myself trying to do it. Yeah. Then we were looking for that key person to try to come on board, to be that right go-between between the agents and the overseas networks that we belong to. And now we got the key, that we have that key. And there's actually already a few agents that are actually actively moving air and ocean. So yeah, if someone's looking to become an agent with and taking a look at the plethora of agent opportunities that exist out there, that's one question. Do you do air and ocean? Do you have the capability to do air and ocean? I know there are some that do, but I think it's a small amount that actually offer that service. So do you,
as this flew by, I feel like we should only schedule hour-long shows with you and I, Mike.
Are we already done?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I want to kind of wrap up with this though. You talk about, and anybody again who's on social media knows that there's a plethora of agency opportunities that are coming. I think that it's only going to expand. I think more and more people are going to try and offer it out there. If anybody's actually thinking about leaving their W-2 for anything, what's one piece of advice? Because you've talked to plenty of potential agents. You guys are very picky about who you bring on. Mm-hmm. What's one piece of advice you would do to help them be successful in choosing to either stay as a W-2 or actually become an agent?
You got to have that gut check conversation with yourself, because you know what, when you even though you want to transfer, your business from a W-2 to a 1099, if you can actually go that route, you still got that transition period with your customers, and they also trying to get paid. So you have to have a buffer of a couple months of that you can actually handle going out on your own. And the other thing, do your research. Unfortunately, I hate to say go with your gut, but when you're talking to people, go with your gut. Mm-hmm. Your gut's got to be involved as to which one you feel is the right fit for you, and ask them about what kind of support they're offering for helping new agents come on board and the transition period. I mean, you know who the guy is, but we onboarded a massive office with a lot of people, mm-hmm. and we were able to onboard them within a whole weekend. Like, mm-hmm. that's insane to be able to onboard someone that quickly and give them the training so they can be up and running on Monday morning. So ask them about the transition plan too.
Yeah, man, I think that's That's the thing, right? Is how fast can you get onboarded? Because if there's any potential delays out there, again, your customer who might give you that, yeah, man, we'll go with you wherever it is. But that better be, if you're punching out on a Friday night at company A and company B starts Monday morning at 6 a.m., you better be onboarded and ready to rock and have zero delays or any disruptions to your customer's freight. Otherwise, there's going to be a potential for issue out there.
But I think it's important to have conversations with people. I mean, we have our reputations are because we talk to people, right?
Yeah.
You know what? If you have questions about it, even if you're not even sure, that's okay. Call us up. I'm happy to have a conversation and talk about the program and how it works. I think a lot of it boils down to education, and it may be the right fit for you. It may not be the right fit for you, and that's okay.
Yeah. No, I agree. Mike, thank you so much for your time. That's going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, which you should be, rank this on iTunes and Spotify, because if you saw value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.